Right then, hello again, and we are going to do rooting today. Now this is not my baby Christopher, it's baby Joseph. So I'm going to show you rooting on his head because that's the baby I'm actually rooting today. He is a little boy. I think I've put a little girl's outfit on him, but never mind. I think he's really cute in that. So what I'm going to do, I did dress him just to see what he looks like in clothes, because I think we all have that need to see what our babies look like dressed when we finish matting and things. So I'm just going to put his clothes on one side, and I'm going to put his body in a plastic bag. This is going to reduce the amount of rubbing on his skin. I finished painting him yesterday, but the silicone doesn't reach its full strength for, I feel, a few days, if not weeks, after you're finished, but certainly days, which is why I prefer to leave it a day or two before I start rooting. But sometimes, you don't have the time to do that. Sometimes, it's fine. So basically I'm going to pop his body in a big plastic bag, and I'm going to tie it round the neck. Stick it round the neck if I can find some sticky tape, which I can't find. In true me style, I can't find anything I need. So I'm going to go and find some sticky tape, and I also need some water. So I'm going to put water in this glass jar for dipping the comb in for when we're straightening it out as we go. I'll go and get the bits I need. Right, we have water. We have tape. Even though it is packaging tape, it'll be fragile. Well, he is fragile, isn't he? There we are. Right, so the actual amount of touching on his body is going to be minimal now. Okay, and I've got my pot of water with my you can use a brush, you can use a toothbrush, you can use a baby brush, you can use a little comb. I use combs or toothbrushes. This is a toothbrush I'm using at the moment. You can add either fabric softener or hair conditioner to the water, which can give it a bit more, but it doesn't really matter, or you can condition it at the end. Okay, so this baby, the head pore spout hasn't been covered as well as I would normally do, but I knew I was going to do it for myself, so I wasn't overly bothered. So please ignore the really badly mended pore spout. So I'm just looking for, here we are. Now I usually use gel pens, which are pretty good as long as they don't stay on the hair too long, but somebody recently told me about chalk markers and said that they come off very easily with water, so I'm going to use that today. They're white chalk markers. So what we're going to do is map out the baby's head and how it goes, what direction it goes in. I've never used these before, so I'm just going to try one out. Do I have to pump it? Ooh. There we are. So it's supposed to be water soluble, so here we go. Right, so we're going to look for the crown of the head. Now that is normally at the back of the head. back of the skull at the top, either on the left or the right. I tend to make it on the right. So I'm going to use this point here as the crown. And from that point I'm going to draw the swell round. So I'm going to draw a line coming down to the front of the ear. I'm going to draw a line going round and to the front of the ear on this side. I'm a bit scared about this pen. And I think I won't mark the front just at the moment. And then we're going to just draw lines down. Now I don't do a very exaggerated swirl because I find that even directionally rooting hair, it goes where it wants to go anyway. So I don't make a big thing of it. So I'm going to do like a design all the way down and then behind the ear. There we are. So basically what we have is lots of wedges going up to the crown. And the crown is here. So we're going to start now. I'm left-handed, so I'm going to be holding him like this and doing him like this. Obviously if you're right-handed, but basically I'm going to be using, I've got a selection of different hairs here. I'm going to be using a 46 crown needle, rooting needle. I don't always, but quite often I like to put a rubber band on my needle so that it gives you a kind of grip. So I'm going to do that. So I'm just going to put this round and round like so. There we are. Right, I'm going to assume you know nothing about rooting. So basically when we root, we get the piece of hair and we get the needle and we push it into the silicone with a needle. I'll draw a picture. Right, okay, so this is the scalp of the head. This is the needle. And we get the piece of hair and we push it in the direction that we want the hair to lay. So when it goes in that way, the hair will lay like that. And then we carry on doing another one, another one, and so on. And that's directional rooting. Now we're going to use a needle that is a crown needle. So the needle basically under a microscope will look like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's got 3 sides and it's got 5 barbs going up. And as it pushes the hair in, it connects to one of these barbs and pushes it in with the needle. Now it has the possibility of collecting to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of hair. So it in theory it could push 5 pieces of hair in. But we don't really want that. Now mono rooting is where you literally only push 1 hair in at a time. It is very, very, very difficult to do that, but it's beautiful. So I'm going to show you sort of, I don't generally particularly mono root. I usually end up with maybe 3 or 4 hairs in, if I'm honest. So as well as this, you'll need a sharp pair of scissors, either hairdressing scissors or just a sharp pair of scissors. I'm just going to cut this off at the moment with these. Alright, I have got some hairdressing scissors, I just don't know where they are at the moment. Just get these out. I'll do. Hang on. Just remember. Right. Okay. I had a bit of a problem there. Basically, what happened was my camera decided that it had run out of memory, and so even though I thought I was videoing, I wasn't. So I need to do a quick catch up as to where I am. I've actually now finished rooting the back, well, some of the back of the hair, but basically the bits that you missed, where I'm going to pick up on, I wasn't very happy with the pen that I was using. I felt when I added water to it, it went all blurry and started dripping down the head with the white, and it was going into the hair. So I did away with the white pen. I did the stripes exactly as I did before with the white pen, and I have rooted 3 or 4 of the wedges now. The video is going to pick up on me halfway through rooting this section here, but the bit that I've missed out was how I start rooting. So basically I get my hair, the other thing is I've actually changed the colour of the hair since the previous video. I'm now using a darker hair, the reason being the lighter hair just wasn't picking up in the video at all. So where I'm at in the video, I'm halfway through rooting this bit, but what's not obvious is how I start off the wedge. So the wedge is like this. I pick up a wedge, I decide to do one, I start at the bottom of it, and then holding the needle in the direction of the crown, the centre of the swirl there. So everything always points towards there. I just get my hair, the edge of it, and put it into preferably one hair. I don't, as I'm going to be explaining on the next bit, I don't mono root. Mono root is where you literally put in one strand at a time, one tiny strand of that at a time, which is incredibly clever, incredibly difficult, and you need the patience of a saint, and it's absolutely beautiful when it's done, but it takes, literally 100 hours or more, because you literally are taking one hair. There's one there, I don't know if you can see it, see if we can get it in even closer. I don't think I'm even going to be able to show this. Right, so if I was going to mono root, I would literally be pulling out one hair. There's one hair there, and pushing that one hair in. Oh, where are we? It's gone. There's one hair, and pushing that one hair in at a time. Literally. Actually, that's got 2 hairs on it. Pull one out. Then the next one, in the next place, literally pushing one hair in. Dear. Pushing in another hair. Sorry, I'm going to have to switch the phone off, the video off. Sorry, no wonder I get things. I keep getting interrupted. So to mono root, I'm literally taking one hair out of the thing, of the bundle, and see one hair there, putting it in the right place, and then popping it in. And it is worth it. It's beautiful when it's done. I just, at the moment, I've never actually mono rooted a whole baby. I will mono root when I come to the front and to the sides, where it shows the most, where the actual root shows. But generally, I start at the bottom. I work I put a piece of a hair in about every, say, 2-3 millimeters, like that. don't always work in a line. I'll perhaps start off in a line, but a little bit more random than that, and I'm just putting a hair in. If it goes in too thickly, if you can see that there's too much in there, I'll pull it out and do it again. But generally I micro root, not mono root. And so as I'm going, I'll work at the bottom and I work my way up and up and up and up and up and up. Always having the needle in the direction of the crown, or the direction I want it the hair to lay. With silicone, you have to hold your needle a lot more of a direction, a lot more acutely than you do with reborning. If you want it to lie down quite a bit, you literally have to almost lay it almost horizontal, and you're sort of pushing the hair in along just underneath the skin there. And even then, sometimes it pops back up again, especially if you're not mono rooting. So that's basically what I'm doing, and I'm working my way up in sort of sections, coming up, up, and until it fills up. So the next bit of the section of the video picks me up doing this section here, and I'm going up here. So I'm probably going to be, it's going to seem a bit disjointed, but hopefully you get all the information that I need to give you. And I'm really sorry about this, but the video just had stopped and I hadn't realised. I was switching it on, switching it off, switching it on, switching it off, and it wasn't recording. So that's what's happened. So that's okay. I can't possibly video the whole of the head. It would be so boring for you. But I will show you sections. So this section I show you, and then I'm going to be working on this section and that section off camera, and then I'm going to come back on and I'm going to do the sides and the front and the top, and I'll probably do most of that on camera. So I'm just going to go away and do this, and hopefully not get too many more interruptions, and then I'll be back. Okay. I don't ever claim to mono root. Maybe one day I will try and mono root a head. It'll probably take me all year just to do one head. I don't have that much patience to spend that much time doing it. They are beautiful when they're done. So one day I will try and mono root, but until then I'm just micro rooting. It still looks nice. It's still directionally rooted. So I'm pushing the needle in as far as it'll go. Basically it goes up to about there and it gets too thick to push in. These are number 46 crown needles, so they're very fine. They hopefully don't leave too much of a hole. And when you push the hair in, the hole, and the needle comes out, the hole closes up automatically and clings onto that hair. So it has stuck in, as you can see, but if I really wanted to tug on that, I could pull it out. So if somebody was combing hair really forcefully, say a child, if a child had the doll, it would be very easy to pull a lot of the hair out. Over time the hair does shed. I'm sorry if I've already said this. I know I did say it in the previous video, but I don't know if that's one of the ones that are lost or not. So yeah, it does shed eventually. It does rub off, does rub out, but it can be rerouted. It's just one of those things, we cannot glue it. But to be honest, reborn hair, does snap off. Even though it's glued, it can break off. So it's a bit more likely to shed than a reborn doll, but anyway. So I say I'm just taking it from the end of the strand here. And again, I don't know if I mentioned in the previous video or whether that's one of the ones that I lost, but I do find that I get through 4 or 5 needles in a head because it gets to the point where it doesn't seem to be picking up hairs very well, and I just change the needle. those of you who have watched the previous courses will know that I do use my needles, my old needles, for other things, for holding together silicone and things. So it's quite handy to keep hold of them. Again, I'm not sure if I mentioned this on a previous video, but there are different types of mohair. There are different thicknesses. This one is a yearling one. The one I was using earlier was a kid mohair, but that was the light colour, and I decided it wasn't that useful for the video, so I've changed to this darker colour. You can get mohair. It can be very, very expensive, it can be very cheap. On the whole, you get what you pay for. Mohair it's all goat. I think it's from a goat, mohair, or alpaca, obviously from alpacas. Alpaca hair is very, very fine. I find alpaca to be too fine to be easy to use. I have used it, but it takes forever because it's so fine. My needle, I think, has dulled, so I'm going to just get a new needle out of the pack. The routing needles you can get from Reborn suppliers. It's better. So we just continue. I always start at the back because a little bit it gets messed up a little bit when you turn it round to do the front. I hold the baby in the position that I need it on either a bean bag or a rolled up blanket or something. That way I can get it in the right angle. There we are. I also have, again, I may have already mentioned this, but I've got a jar of water, I've got a little baby toothbrush, and I've got a comb, so I just run water through it every now and then just to straighten it. You can add conditioner to the water. You can add fabric conditioner, or you can add hair conditioner. I've also in the past added just mineral oil on the tip of the brush. Can make it look quite nice. Gives it a bit of a shine. You'll find your own way of doing it. So for now I'm not styling the hair, I'm just leaving it the full length. The one thing that most people do differently to real hair, with real hair, if you look at sort of like baby's hair, it's only going to be, each strand is only going to be about 1 inch in length. Because obviously she's a baby, she's only just been born, she's not had time to grow any length of the hair. Whereas if we cut all this to 1 inch length, it wouldn't lay flat. It would look horrible. So we do tend to cut the hair a bit longer, not so that they've got like a massive fringe over their eyes, because that would just look silly. But longer than, but the strands are longer than they are on a real baby's head. You can cut them thinner, fine, shorter if you want, but I find that even though I'm tempted to cut them shorter, they don't look as nice, and they look a bit too thin sometimes when they especially when the hair's dry. So I find it quite a boring job. It's fascinating but boring. I tend to do it downstairs watching television, where I can glance at the TV and it keeps me going, or listen to the radio or something.